Hello and welcome to this Arc Nova strategy guide. I have 4 tier lists to help you win your next game. Let's start off with the most important one, the upgrade to your action cards. So in A tier we have the cards that you want to upgrade every game and preferably early. So first, animals. The most important thing about upgrading animals early is to get this free reputation when you take it at level 5. And this is very important for getting this upgrade so you can get your second upgrade as soon as possible. And it's also very good for getting a second association worker. And those are really the two of the things that you want to focus on most in the early game is your card upgrades and your association workers, along with your income and your appeal. So animals helps you do that. Also, it's just mandatory to upgrade it at some point in the game because it allows you to play animals from your reputation range, and since most cards in the deck are animals, you're just going to have a lot of options, and you'll be able to use that very often without having to draw as many cards. Also, there are some really good animals that you're going to need to play in the late game, such as the eagles and the elephants. And so if you don't upgrade your animals action, not being able to play these is going to be a big detriment. Next we have association. Association is fantastic for a few reasons. First, it gives you access to donations and to this part of your partner zoo track. So donations are a cheap and efficient way to get conservation. It's pretty hard to win without making any donations, so that's a good reason to upgrade association every game and to do it early to get access to the cheaper ones. It's very good to get an association worker by placing your third partner zoo, and being able to take multiple association actions is very helpful. This is really going to increase your action efficiency, and it's such a good way to increase your action efficiency that I would recommend saving your X tokens so that you can use it on your upgraded association action to, for example, get a partner zoo and a university on the same turn, or even a partner zoo and support a conservation project on the same turn. This is a very, very strong turn, one of the strongest turns you can have in the game. And yeah, this is just going to help you get a lot more conservation points. All right, next in B tier are cards that you should upgrade most games, and usually in a third or fourth. Sometimes you can even do an early upgrade to build because it lets you be very action efficient, and that's the main reason you want to upgrade build is your action efficiency. Being able to build multiple things on the same turn is really going to save you time, and later on having access to the large bird aviary especially, and also the reptile house, it is going to save you a lot of space and a lot of actions. So build is always a solid option, and really this can be upgraded at any point in the game. The only reason you usually don't upgrade it first or second is just because animals and association are so good. All right, cards is the most overrated upgrade. You usually upgrade cards fourth because seeing that one extra card is not so important, and drawing from reputation range is not so important. Yes, they're good to have, but they're a bit overrated because they don't actually give you more money to work with, so you're not going to be able to use all of those cards that you get. And since you're going to want to upgrade animals, and most cards are animals, you can play those cards directly from reputation range instead of drawing them with cards. So the animals upgrade makes cards a bit redundant. The real reason to upgrade cards is to get access to this last portion of your reputation track, because there's great bonuses on here and you want to have access to this. 2 conservation points, 2 card draw, and 2 X tokens. You don't want to miss out on that. And also later in the game, seeing extra cards can be very helpful. And in C tier, the lone sponsors, it's good, but it's just not as good as the other ones. And so sponsors is usually the upgrade that I'm least likely to take, since you have 4 upgrades max in each game, and sponsors usually gets left out. However, there are some good reasons to upgrade sponsors. They just won't show up in every game. The best reason is definitely Explorer. This is one of the best sponsor cards in the game. It just gives you so much money and so much appeal. So if you find Explorer, then consider upgrading sponsors. Also, if you find an early talented communicator, then you might want to consider upgrading your sponsors, especially if you can find a way to get 4 reputation on turn 1 or round 1 before the first break to get this upgrade and upgrade sponsors, and then play your talented communicator before the first break, so you can take 2 association actions. That would be very strong. And to do that, you're probably going to have to take this university for the 2 reputation and then find 2 other reputations somewhere. All right, the other thing that's important to consider is which association actions you take to get your card upgrades. So there's 2 main tracks, right? There's the Partner Zoo track and the University track. So if you take Partner Zoos, you're going to get these discounts on your animals. You're going to get a upgrade on round 2 before the second break, and then you're going to probably want to use that upgrade to upgrade association, because that'll let you get your 3rd Partner Zoo and get a 2nd association worker, which means before the 3rd break you'll be able to take this Partner Zoo and also get a university or support a conservation project. And the other path is to start with universities, and you at least want to get the 2 reputation one, and possibly also the 1 reputation one with the max hand size of 5, because that'll help you get this upgrade here on the reputation track. So it won't give you as much money to work with because you won't be getting these discounts, but you'll be getting faster upgrades. And you'll also be able to get a association worker here with the 8 reputation spot. So these are both viable options. It's just going to depend on your hand and what your goals are, whether you want to go for fast upgrades or whether you need the discounts, or some animals require Partner Zoos, so you're going to have to take that track sometimes as well. Also, there's another reason to take the sponsors, to upgrade the sponsors action. There's a special zoo that is built around sponsor cards, and it reduces the strength or the cost of your sponsor cards, I guess, allowing you to play multiples a lot easier. So you're going to have to upgrade sponsors when you play that zoo. And in that case, you might consider doing a bit of a weird upgrade order where you can upgrade animals late and just not even upgrade cards at all, because you won't be getting to 10 reputation anyway, so it's not as important to upgrade cards. This allows you to upgrade build and sponsors in the same game, which usually you wouldn't do. But if you want to upgrade animals early and cards, then you can just forego upgrading build. That's another option. All right, on to the next tier list. So this is which starting cards you should prioritize, and since there's over 200 cards, I'm not going to go over every card, but these cards are going to just represent what you should be looking for. So the first thing you should prioritize is a sponsor card that you can play before the first break. So Side Entrance is a great example of this. Doesn't have any requirements. It gives you income. Same with Ornithologist. It's going to give you at least 3 money, and more throughout the game. And you also need to find a starting animal, although it is not as crucial because there's so many animals in the deck. You'll find one on the reputation row, or in your next card draw action. But if you find a good one, then it's definitely a high priority. And I would prioritize petting zoo animals, because if you find multiples, you're going to be off to a great start on your appeal. And I also really like the posturing animals, because they allow you to get kiosks without spending build actions to do them. So those are the most important things. Just set up your turn 1 sponsor and an animal. And then B tier, you've got more sponsor cards. There's only half as many sponsor cards as animal cards, so you're going to run out, and you want to start with as many as you can. So a good sponsor card that maybe you can play second, before the second break, or maybe a sponsor card that doesn't have requirements, but it just isn't as good to play right away, so you want to wait on this one. Yeah, just more sponsor cards to play throughout the game, so you don't run out, because you will run out eventually. Also in B tier, the breeding program conservation projects. These are the only conservation projects that are really good in the early game, because they're very easy to get. You just need the partner zoo and the matching animal. And they give you 2 conservation and 2 reputation, which is kind of perfect, because that can give you 2 upgrades. You get an upgrade for getting 2 conservation points, and this 2 reputation can also give you your upgrade on your reputation track, or it gets you closer to the second worker as well. So that's great. C tier is extra animals, potentially animals that you can't play immediately, maybe animals that are strong but have some requirements or are expensive, or just have some synergy bonuses for you, but that aren't going to be good right away. So just whatever animals that you find that are have the most synergy for you, just fill out your hand with those. And then the cards that you do not want to take are conservation projects that are not breeding programs. Just save these for later. These are not a priority to keep early. You can focus on the base conservation projects, and yeah, just leave these for later. Don't let them clog up your hand early. All right, next we have the endgame goals. So you're going to get 2 of these at the start of each game, and it'll be helpful for you to know not to focus on some of these, because if you build your game plan around some of these, you'll end up not even getting 4 conservation points for them and going out of your way, and it'll kind of be a waste of effort. Whereas these goals in A tier, you can definitely get 3 or 4 conservation points pretty easily, and you don't have to go too far out of your way to do it. So yeah, favorite zoo is the best. If you upgrade animals first, it's pretty easy to get 15 reputation. This takes some effort, but you can definitely get 4 conservation points from this. And I like the large animal zoo more than the small animal zoo. Large animals are generally better to go for, because they take less build actions to support. Yeah, and these cards are just, I find it very hard to get 3 or 4 conservation points with them. Sponsor cards, you'll probably play 5 or 6 each game. Conservation projects, like once you've supported 3 or 4 conservation projects, then the game is probably over, and you don't have any more turns to get the other 2. All right, this is my sponsors tier list. It's important to know the good sponsors, because these are going to determine your strategy more than the animal cards. The animal cards are more balanced and more of your enablers for the tags that they give, and the sponsor cards are more of your build-arounds, along with the base conservation projects. It can be even more important to build around some of these sponsor cards than the base conservation projects. So that's important to keep in mind. In the S tier and A tier, I've got the sponsor cards that are going to give you a lot of appeal or a lot of income. And the best card at doing that is Aquarium. Immediately you're going to get 4 appeal because it's got 2 water icons itself. And then when you find 4 more water icons, you're going to get a total of 12 appeal and a conservation point at the end of the game. That's a ton of points, and that appeal is going to increase your income. So this is an amazing card. Side Entrance doesn't give as many points, but it does give you a lot of income, which is going to help you play bigger animals and get more appeal that way. So Side Entrance is a great first card. Explorer is probably the strongest card in the game, but it does require that you upgrade your sponsor's action, so that's why I have it third. Meerkat Den. There are more cards like this for the different animal types, and they're all great. Just a lot of appeal, especially if they match one of the base conservation projects. Then, hopefully you can just play 5 icons, get 10 appeal, and then score that 5 conservation point project. And yeah, the rest of these also give a bunch of appeal and some nice money for these two. The cable car is very similar to Aquarium, but there's less rock icons, and it's a bit annoying to play the 6 cost sponsor cards. Was a special assignment. I like to play out the small animals early, and then play this and play the large animals from my hand and get an extra 4 appeal on them. So this is a good mid to late game card to get a bunch of appeal. And then at the top of A tier, I've got cards that give you a lot of income. The Ornithologist and the Science Library are especially good in 4-player games. You're going to get a lot more money for those. And then the Ornithologist, the elephants, there are cards for every different animal type. So keep that in mind. I've just rated them the same for all of these. Same with the Expert on Asia. There's experts on each continent. And these ones are, they're a bit different, but they're still about, I think they're all A tier. This is the other sponsor card that is worth upgrading your sponsors card for. Archaeologist is really good for the starter map that has the 10 money on the edge of the board as a bonus, because you can take that multiple times. That's a ton of money. On the other boards, there's only 5 money or like 1 reputation or an X token, so it's not as good on the other maps, but it's, I would consider it S tier if you're playing the starter map. At the bottom of the A tier and top of B tier, I've got some research synergy cards. These can give you a lot of conservation points and reputation for this one, but they are kind of hard to enable. You have to go out of your way, so they can be strong in some games, but not most games. Then we got Engineer is good for action efficiency, and it can help you get multiple kiosks up early so that you can increase your income without spending too many actions on it. Native Lizards is another set. There's one of these for the different animals. These can give you a good chunk of appeal, but you have to go out of your way to get it early. So can be worth it, but it's not so easy to get this. And then I've got some cards that require sponsors too, but aren't worth upgrading the action for. So more kind of a bonus in the games that you upgraded your sponsors to for other reasons. And Polar Bear Exhibit looks like it would be good. It's very similar to some of these cards I have in S tier, but there's just not that many bears, and you only start out with 2 tickets for playing it, so 2 appeal. So it's pretty good, but it's not as good as the other ones. And then I've got some cards that give just a little bit of appeal, conservation, and reputation here. And then these cards don't give you very much on their own. They've got some research icons, they give you some X tokens, and they can help you get conservation points depending on what you do here. But they're pretty conditional. Still worth playing some games. So it's not that any of these sponsors are actually bad. It's just that these ones are worth building your strategy around, and taking your cards action as a snap to pick these up from the row. Whereas these cards are just, play them if you draw them. It's better than taking 5 money, but they're not as important, and you shouldn't build around them as much. All right, those are my 4 tier lists for Arc Nova. Let me know what you think. I'm sure the sponsors tier list and the action upgrade tier list will be pretty controversial, so I'm sure everyone has a different opinion on that. And let me know what you think of this format. How helpful was it to see these tier lists for the strategy guide? I certainly enjoyed making it, so I hope you enjoyed it too. Thanks for watching.